individuals who are participating for the first presenter, Atlantic Broadband, are led into the room. Let me also just remind the council that we've invited we invited 3 companies, only 2 chose to participate in today's workshop to give us an overview of who they are and what they have to offer. With that, Mayor Singer, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening. I want to welcome everyone to the fiber option workshop called for 6:30 p.m. Time is approximately 6:34. Today's date is October 20th, 2020. Meeting officially called to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Einstein.
Here.
Councilmember Luskin.
Here.
Councilmember Rendell.
Here.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Here.
Okay, guys, this meeting is for discussion purposes only. There's not going to be a decision made today. This is one of the steps in the process. Each vendor will have, both Atlantic Broadband and Hotwire Communications will have 15 minutes each to do their presentation. I urge you guys, you got 15 minutes because we have a council meeting after that. We are not going to discuss at this time financing of this venture. It's just for discussion purposes only. That both vendors are going to tell us the advantages of going with one versus the other. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Atlantic Broadband.
Mayor, real quick, council members and members from Atlantic Broadband, in the interest of protecting the proprietary information and costs, please do not talk about contract pricing or that's something that we will be doing in closed session directly with the vendor. So council members, I know that you saw in your proposal that there was a price. Please do not discuss any type of pricing or costs associated with vendors. We're just talking about the services they provide, the company as an overview. Later on at our meeting, we're going to talk about how we're going to fund it, but we're not discussing pricing tonight. Said, Heather, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for inviting Atlantic Broadband to bid on the bulk cable services for the town of Golden Beach. With a special thank you to Alex and Lizette for giving us this opportunity to share more about Atlantic Broadband with you. Before we get started, I would like to introduce myself, Heather Ventrone, and the rest of my team. Lizette, can you please provide me screen sharing options?
Yes. Give me just one moment.
Okay, so my name's Heather Ventrone. I've been with Atlantic Broadband for about 3 years now. My team is responsible for acquiring bulk business, new business, and renewal business in Miami Beach and the rest of South Florida.
You should be able to now.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so also on this call this evening is Regan Anderson. He's the Vice President of Select Communities.
Hello, everyone. Hey, Heather, can you close your one file there so you can expand the presentation format? There's a file over there on the left. Just close that where you've got that. We can see it better.
Okay, hold on. Okay, are you guys seeing the full screen?
Not right now. You're not sharing it with us.
Okay. Okay, do you see everything?
You just have to close out the
document
tab
recovery.
where it says close, the document recovery, just close that out.
I'm not seeing it on my end.
It's okay. We can see the slide on the.
All right. Yeah,
We're only going to have 10 more minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. All right, so.
There you go. Perfect.
Good? Okay,
Yep,
great.
perfect.
Okay, so I have Regan Anderson on the phone, Vice
Hello,
President of Select Communities. Brian
Thank you for-
Paticchiola. Oh, go ahead, Regan. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, thank you for allowing us to be, part of the presentation here. We've got,
Brian Patacchiola, our staff attorney,
Hello, everybody.
and David Greenberg. He's our project manager for construction. David's very familiar with the town of Golden Beach.
Hello.
Okay, so a little bit about Atlantic Broadband. As most of you know, we've serviced Miami Beach from South Beach all the way up to Aventura and Golden Beach for the last 15 years. We're actually the 8th largest cable provider in the United States. We currently have 1,400 employees and service about 830 homes and businesses in the United States, in the 12 states where we service. Our parent company is a company out of Canada by the name of Cogeco Communications, and they have heavily invested about $200 million annually in service and network enhancements. One of those network enhancements is we acquired the assets of FiberLight in South Florida market. So this is important that I wanted to share this with you because we're expanding outside of Miami Beach, and part of that is by running our own fiber to these new communities outside of the beach. So into Palm Beach County, into Broward, we heavily invested, and there is a lot of money invested into helping Atlantic Broadband grow outside of the Miami Beach market. So some of the things I want to talk about is our internet tiers that we currently provide in the market today. Our very, very basic tier is our advanced tier of 100 megs. Our next tier is our premier tier of 250 megs download. Our extreme tier of 400 megs, and the latest and the greatest, the best of the best, are Giga Edge, which is 1 gig download speeds. For our internet speeds, we don't data cap and there's no hidden download charges. We provide ultra fast and reliable wireless home networking in home as well. One of the television products that we provide in our bulk market and our retail market is our TiVo platform. On that platform, you have the ability to watch Netflix, YouTube, HBO Go, Amazon Prime, Showtime, anywhere, and the list keeps growing as the streaming media becomes more popular. The TiVo platform is a 6-tuner DVR, and it records up to 6 shows at once. It is 4K capable and currently has access to 38,000 hours of on-demand content. And inside your home, you have the ability to watch shows on your tablet or smartphone or take it with you to go. In addition to that, the TiVo service also comes with the voice remote. So you don't have to learn the channels anymore. Now you can just ask to put on your favorite programming, or you can access your favorite actors or the news, whatever you'd like to, with the voice remote. It doesn't get much easier than that. And for all the Netflix fans out there, Netflix is available at the push of a button. Okay, so for the town of Golden Beach, I think it was very important that Alex had mentioned that you guys wanted a brand new fiber infrastructure for the community, and we're very willing to do that. So this would be a fiber to the home build out. We do have 2 options available for the town. So the first option provided is a bulk internet and video option. This is a very robust package. It includes most of all the channels in our lineup, which I'll go through with you now. It includes our value and more TV programming, HBO premium movies, Showtime premium movies, Cinemax, Stars. The set-top boxes that every home would get would be the one TiVo 6-tuner HD DVR with voice remote. And with that, you would also get 3 mini TiVo DVRs with voice remote. In addition to that, I don't know about everyone else, but me, internet is super important in my home, especially now with everyone working from home and the kids doing school from home. So we wanted to provide you one of the most robust internet packages that we provide in the market, and that's our Giga Edge internet package. That includes 1 gig download on the internet, along with our Wi-Fi gateway, which is our modem with wireless built in. In addition to that, something that sets us apart from some of the other operators in the market is wire maintenance is included in our bulk contract, which means no charge for service calls. Regarding the courtesy services, Alex had asked for multiple locations to provide internet to through a Ruckus router. So we're currently tabling that with leadership today, and I will get back to Alex on that in the next couple of days. In addition to that, I believe there was asked to have a community channel for the town of Golden Beach. So we're also willing to provide that service as well. And most importantly, it would be a brand new fiber to the home broadband system for the town of Golden Beach. Then the second option, that includes, it's just an internet only option. So television, the residents would be on their own for, and this allows for 1 gig internet to each home with a Wi-Fi gateway to each home, along with the no charge for service calls with our wire maintenance. And all the courtesy services and the infrastructure is the same as previously discussed. Our dedicated customer support team, as a bulk customer, the town of Golden Beach residents would receive concierge VIP support 24/7, serving our top select communities in South Florida. Our call center is currently based out of Cumberland, Maryland, and everything is onshore, not offshore or near shore. So you get a live person every time you call. In addition to that, as I had mentioned earlier, we're constantly investing in technology to improve our customers' experience through our customer support and automated phone system, as well as nowadays you can get your support online through a chat. We also have local account management and service teams for our South Florida customers. So this is just a brief sample of the launch schedule. If you choose to select Atlantic Broadband as the bulk provider to service the town of Golden Beach with fiber to the unit, after an agreement signed, the first phase is the project initialization and preparation phase. That starts with the design, the permitting, and ordering materials. So that's mostly the back-end work. Once we receive our materials and permitting and design, then we'll start the next phase, which is the on-site work and testing of the new system. So that's our construction, engineering will come out. There'll be a point person for the town of Golden Beach. And then we do the full end-to-end system testing to make sure that everything is up to par and can support our TiVo system and also our 1 gig internet that we would be providing to the residents. And then phase 2 and phase 3 kind of go together. Once we complete the end-to-end system testing, we start the launch process and the communication strategy to your residents, whether that be through a Zoom meeting, an on-site sign-up event, or a letter to the residents. We work with a lot of associations in South Florida, and a lot of times they have their own ways of communicating to their residents. So with that, I conclude my presentation regarding the services, and I wanted to open it up for Q&A.
Okay, we have,
Mayor, real quick, Heather, just because you didn't discuss it, if you go back to the internet screen where you talk about 1 gig, I just want to make sure that the council gets all the information. Is that 1 gig up and 1 gig down, or what is the 1 gig that you're proposing?
So the 1 gig, our 1 gig.
Let's go back to that screen so everyone sees.
Sure, let me go back, hold on.
And then while you're doing, is Robert Zinn in your group or Ken Byrne?
No.
No.
Okay, all right. So I just want to get the council to be aware, or we need to know, because your slide didn't show. It says 1 gig, but it doesn't show whether it's up or down or both, or what is it, please?
Okay, so that's a great question. So currently our 1 gig is 1,000 megs over 50.
And can you-
And as we upgrade our network, the speeds in our network and in our infrastructure, that gig, so say, for example, today it's 1,000 over 50. As the symmetrical uploads, as there becomes more of a need for upload speed in the market, when we upgrade our network, that speed is passed on to your residents.
Is there an additional fee for that?
Regan, would you like to answer that?
No, we can work something out with the city. We would put a contract rate in. You'd be bulking that gig package. So if the gig package itself moves to gig by 400, gig by 500, gig by, on the upload, then we would move you to that speed automatically at no increase. Now, if you want to move into a symmetrical package, there may be a minor adjustment in the rate if we were to go into a symmetrical side.
Okay, and then one last question from me, Mayor. I'm sorry for asking. I just lost what it was.
Heather, I have a question for you. You mentioned all these channels. Does that include local channels like CBS?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And then my second question is, in layman's terms, okay, based on what you know, what percentage faster speed internet will you provide than what we currently have? Is it 30% faster? I understand the 1 gig, but speed-wise, to keep it simple for everyone so they understand, are you telling us that the internet speed up and down is going to be 10% faster, 100% faster? Give me a percentage about.
So it all depends on what the current user has inside their home. What I've seen in the market is a lot of the residents have about 250. So that would be about 4 times faster on the download speed.
And what about the upload?
The upload would be about, I would say, double.
Yeah,
On the
double's a
250
good
meg
idea.
package, it's about a 20 meg upload.
So you're saying, so on the upload, it would be double the speed you currently have, and the download, it would be saying triple the speed?
Yeah, 4
Okay.
times.
Yes.
Can we
4
get to a
times.
grid? Can we get to the grid with everybody's faces on it?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Heather, I had a question. So I have the Giga Edge right now. So it looks like we're just bringing the whole town to Giga Edge. Is that right? Or is it going to be faster than the current Giga Edge?
Yeah, so the Giga Edge, it would be the same speed that you currently have if you subscribe to the gig. The difference is it's a brand new infrastructure. So it's a fiber to the unit infrastructure. Everything is brand new. So you'll have a lot more reliability with the system that we're putting in place.
But no faster than what he currently has, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Can I, Glenn, when you're up, let me know.
Go on.
Okay, so I'm holding an Atlantic Broadband bill here,
Okay.
and unfortunately, I pay $270 a month for your service.
Okay.
And
They're not Atlantic Broadband.
what's that?
They're not Atlantic Broadband.
Yes, they are.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
we are.
Atlantic Broadband. Sorry, go on.
Okay, yeah, they're Atlantic Broadband, and I've had your service for a long time. And some of
Thank
your services that you're telling me about now, I've been extremely disappointed with. And you're going to have to really prove to me as to why I should continue with you. And I'll tell you some of those services, because unfortunately today I spent an hour and a half on hold on 2 separate lines trying to get through to your services. And I could not get through to anybody today on your lines, just because I wanted to find out what I was paying for per month for how many MPSs I was paying per month. And I can't find that on my bill anywhere. And I went online with my son-in-law, who went to Princeton and every other graduate degree, and he has more technological expertise. He went on your website. He said, "Oh, it's going to be on your website. You'll see what you get." And it's not on your website either. So I was a little disappointed on that. When you advertised voice controls, and I ordered one. And when I ordered it and they came to my house, they said, "Oh, you can get one of those." And he says, "But your machinery won't even work that." And I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, it's audio rather than video controlled or infrared control. They still don't work." I think I might have 2 in my house now. They still don't work. I've called people, doesn't work. You talk about concierge service. Are you telling me that you have 2 types of services? I'm like a second-class citizen on your thing right now. And when I call up, you know, whatever happened, it could be COVID, it could be whatever you're saying it is. People are out of work. And I assume you guys are making a lot of money right now. I'm disappointed with your service. I'm frustrated with it. And I'm just really reluctant to enter into any type of contract in the future for more of the service. Does this service, by the way, that you're talking about, does it include telephone?
Telephone would be available on a retail basis for the residents.
So the pricing does not, you know, does include the telephone, the pricing, whatever it is. Okay, doesn't
it would
include
be-
telephone. Okay.
Telephone would be like $25 a month
As an added.
Right. for the resident.
And we're gonna
Okay.
go over cost after. So
Well,
let's keep
yeah,
it to
but-
generic questions.
But I don't know if we're going to need a larger workshop to talk about everybody's concerns, you know, because we've lived with Atlantic Broadband. And, you know, these people, I'm sure, not even aware of some of these things. I would love every one of their personal telephone numbers so they come to my house and address some of these issues. You know, for example, one of the issues I have, and I haven't had anybody address it, is that you now have an app for Netflix and things like that, HBO, where I have my actual box, I'm able to get that item. But I've been told on my other TiVo boxes, because it has something to do, you don't get the internet that you might have in your home go directly to it. It's a different system. I must use my smart TV's internet in which to access my app from a different source, or go to Apple TV and nobody's been able to satisfactorily servicemen. They said, oh, I don't know. We don't know why that doesn't work like that.
Well, I can probably, you know, have somebody come out and, you know, work your house and get the system and, you know, I can handle that. I can forward you my email address after the fact.
It's unbelievable to me that it's taken me, you know, being in the position of being a councilman in Golden Beach, where you're looking to get a new contract for somebody to address these problems, because I've screamed, hollered, and yelled, okay, for
understood.
this to be done. And now that you've got this mega contract looking to get more providers, and this is my fear, is that when you're on board in the future, we got them signed up. Where can we cut services? Where can we save money? Well, you know, the way we can do it is we can cut them on the in terms of people who work, the employees who answered phones, because that could, you know, if Mr. Einstein doesn't get his phone answered within an hour or an hour and a half, what's going to happen then is, well, where's he going to go? He's going to go to he can go to satellite. That's a possibility, or he's going to stay with us. So I feel like I'm a captive audience, and I don't like it.
No,
Really
that.
disappointed.
Okay,
And I'm-
Ben, I gotta cut you off. It's not about Ben, it's about the town. So thank you. Councilman Bernstein or Councilman Mandel, do you have any technical questions regarding this? Because I'm
Yeah,
trying to keep
very-
it timely.
Very quick question for me.
Sure.
If there's a resident that's currently locked into a 2-year contract with a different service, what's the protocol there if we end up going with you guys?
So the way it works is if they're under contract with us on a retail basis, and if they would transition to the bulk, we would send out notification to the resident, letting them know what is available in the bulk services. And it's basically a very smooth transition. So any of the bulk services that you're paying retail for, they'd be included through your bulk, and your bill would be eliminated by a certain date. So we'd send out communication with all that information.
Right, and if it's with a competing provider, what would happen if now we're forcing people onto Atlantic Broadband? What would happen with who's liable to I guess pay their settlement or their remaining bill?
Sure. So typically it would be the resident, and then it's up to the resident to take the bulk services as well. Something that you want to take, the residents would want to take into consideration is how much less they would be paying once they took the bulk services, because, you know, if they do have, say, an internet with AT&T, then that bill would go away. You know, and if they wanted to opt and no longer have DirecTV or a satellite provider, you know, and take our services, then that bill would also go away.
Great.
So
Thank you, Heather.
you're very welcome. Thank you. Any other questions?
Sorry.
So,
Councilman
I actually have one more.
Luskin And Councilman, go on.
Just in the event that the internet went the other way, would residents, how would their bill work with the cable if it went with the cable? Would
I guess
they
the
still?
question, as I understand the question is, if we chose an only internet package, what would happen to the cable portion, correct, sir?
So
Correct.
then, okay, great question. So if you went with an internet only package, then the residents would pay for their television service a la carte on their own. So they would pay either retail rates with us, or if they currently have a satellite provider or whomever their provider is, they could continue with them.
And would the residents be able to get the type of rates for the bundle that you're offering the town? Would they be able to get the bundle rates to get that package if we chose you for the internet?
They would be able to get any retail promotions. They would buy that on a retail promotional basis.
That's not the question. So here's the question. So
Okay.
currently you offer a more affordable, attractive rate when you bundle your service. There are discounts to cable, there are discounts to cable. The question is, should we provide internet only? Are the cable rates at the bundle rate still honored, or are they a la carte cable rates, which are typically higher than a bundle rate?
They would be the a la carte, the higher. They would have promotional opportunities. We have a STP program, a discount program where certain things are already discounted. They would be eligible for that as well.
So just something I want to add to that, when it comes to bulk pricing with our programmers, when we have a bulk account, our pricing is different, right? And television is where all the costs are, right? I'm sure you see on the news, like for example, DirecTV, years ago, they were dropping Fox during the playoffs, right? There was a bidding war with them. So that's where a lot of our costs come in. So when we do television on a retail basis, our costs are a lot higher, which we don't have much room to offer bulk rates on a retail basis, if that makes sense to you.
Okay.
I have one.
Councilman Luskin, do you have any questions?
Yeah, one question. When we did the CIP project a number of years ago, I remember we sort of dug a trench and put a lot of cabling in there. I think the AT&T cabling is in there. Atlantic Broadband is in there. So my question to you is, we'd obviously be going back into that channel. And my question to you is do you add on to the existing Atlantic Broadband that we have to increase it, or do you put new cabling in? And if you do, what do you do with the old cabling? Do you pull it out or do you leave it there?
So everything is going to be brand new cabling. It's going to be fiber optic. David, are you available?
Yes.
If you can answer the second part of
yeah,
that, because David's very familiar with the property and the conduit.
So the existing conduits that's in the ground right there, we would just run a small count fiber to feed all the facilities that we're going to be putting in place out there. The old cabling will be left inside there. Everything's going to be brand new when it comes to fiber to the house. So we'll build the network, we'll place the pedestals, and take the fiber all the way straight inside the home. If that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any, Councilman Einstein, do you have any, Vice Mayor, any further questions?
You know what? I have one last question.
Go ahead.
Do you, so in your plan, it said it takes about 6 months after the initial phase. Phase 2 takes 6 months, and then the launch happens after that, phase 3. But if you do part of the town, let's say the north part first, would you launch the north part? Would you turn on the services there, or do you wait for the whole project to be completed?
Normally we do the whole project. Dave, you want to chime in quick and just sort of give us the overview. Wouldn't we do the whole thing at once? We may launch as far as turning people up. We may do it in phases, but we normally build the whole network first before we launch.
Correct. We'll build the whole entire network and we'll test everything end to end to make sure the east side, the west side, north and south are all functioning properly before they'll release it for actual installations. It'll actually go really smooth because the conduit system in place up there is fantastic right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions?
Al, Glenn?
Yeah, go on.
Mayor? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So in terms of the processes, my son-in-law has signed up for, what is it, NFL TV or what?
Red Zone.
Red Zone, no.
Yeah, Red Zone. So he gets Red Zone right now. I don't know how many megabits I get per minute, or it may be 250, and I don't know if it has anything to do with it. But I noticed when we were watching it, he's able to watch all those things quite nicely. To me, it's kind of amazing. You know, you see all those download speeds. He doesn't do it off of, he does it off of the smart TV app, and he's getting the internet vis-a-vis a different route, I think. But it works fine. You know, it works very nicely. How will the gigabits, or how will we notice a difference in gigabits? Where do you see it? Why tell me why I need this product.
Well, when I'm selling a gig to someone, I'm not going to sell it to someone who lives in a small condo or a small apartment. The way I would utilize a gig, it's for very large homes, right? We're going to deliver that gig to the modem, right? What it allows for is multiple devices in your home. So let's talk about, right? So outside of just the television and your modem, you have your laptops, you have your smart TVs, right? That have Netflix and, you know, all the streaming media built into them. There's camera systems now that operate off of the internet. I have a doorbell that operates off the internet. I know there's also refrigerators and vacuums. Now you have multiple devices, multiple things in a home pulling from this internet, which is why I would recommend a gig, especially since a lot of the homes in the town of Golden Beach are very large homes. So it's ultimately great because of the need for all of just about everything operates off of Wi-Fi nowadays. So
just a question: if two people were in a home, is it? I'm just trying to find out when it becomes overkill to get a gig. You know, let's say you have normal uses and it's a two-person home, and one's running a computer. Let's say they're both running Zoom all day long. You know, they're both Zoom conferencing. Would 250 service them?
Sure.
Yes,
Absolutely.
250 would. The big difference is going to be that when you're looking at the gig is the download. So you want to download a movie for someone to watch on an iPad. It would take you, half a minute to download a full, color movie versus maybe on 250, it takes you 6, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever that is. So you're gaining that window of time from that. It just does it faster, and it does the ability to have multiple devices, as you talked about, thermostats, coffee pots, everything.
How about the streaming? How would people notice the streaming on the 250, 500 to the whatever it is, the 1 gigabit? I'm sorry, I don't know the nomenclature.
No problem. The streaming side of it, when you're taking a good high def movie, you're looking at 8, really somewhere in that 8 to 10 megs that is pulling down to do that. So 250 is still going to be fine. You could have 10 or 11 TVs doing that and still be online and looking at stuff. But again, it's the speed of doing what you want it to get done, and then the ability to have multiple devices on it. So if you have the thermostat, the coffee pot, the oven, everything's, I need 3 meg, 5 meg, 10 meg. You start adding that up, you could get to the 250 fairly quickly. Your camera system might take 12, 15. Who knows, what it is when it's pulling. When you're streaming and doing a Zoom, again, you're 8, 10, something like that. So you multiply that times the number of devices. You're just covering your bases from the standpoint of the ability to have many, many devices in your home on that network. And to Heather's point, when they're really large and you're pushing that signal out, you want, instead of 1,000 meg getting to the very edge of your house, it may only be 600 over there versus you start at 250 and you push it over all the way to the other side wirelessly and it's down to 50. So there's the modification of the size of the room, the number of devices, all those things have an impact on the broadband side.
Okay,
Mayor,
thank you. With that, Town Manager, I'm going to thank Atlantic Broadband. I appreciate Heather. Go on.
Mayor, I'm going to do this. Council members, I'm going to be providing each of you with the contact information for each of the providers so you can have individual one-on-one discussions to go over your concerns outside of this forum. So that to each of you, and I'll provide that to you tomorrow. Mayor, I think it's only fair that we give them 30 seconds to do a closing before we move on to the next provider.
Go on. Heather, would you like to?
Well, thank you everyone for having us. We do service a lot of the residents of Golden Beach, and we would really love the opportunity to rebuild your community and continue to service you and the rest of the residents for the next few years.
Thank you. I thank everybody for coming and giving your presentation. And again, this is one of our first few steps to decide what we're going to do and what provider we are going to provide with. So thank you guys. Appreciate your time and your effort.
If you are with Atlantic Broadband at this time, I'm going to ask you to exit the room. So leave the room yourself or we'll kindly push you out. Mr. Zinn, Mr. Robert Zinn, sir, who are you with?
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Mr. Robert Zinn,
Yes,
who are you with, sir?
I'm a resident.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and let Hotwire in. Mr. Ramos, you're on. There you go. You're on. We have verified that everyone in the room is only either a resident of Golden Beach or a staff member. Atlantic Broadband just finished their presentation. They had about 20 minutes. We're going to ask you limit your presentation to 15, which is what they did, and then whatever time we need for question and answer, that's on us.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I will share my screen, if I may. Excellent. So first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to at least allow a few minutes to try to condense as much information as possible into what our recommended solution is. So we'll try our best to get as much in as possible. So my name is David Ramos, and I am the Executive Vice President for Hotwire Communications in South Florida. I oversee all aspects of operations, sales, business support, customer and account management. And so ultimately everything good, bad, or ugly that happens, I'm responsible for in this market. So I wanted to be the one to personally deliver this message to you guys and make sure that you understood the value of what we're presenting to you. So we looked at this from a smart city perspective. You all fall into a unique category where you're part residential community, part town, and everything else that integrates in between both worlds. So we looked at it holistically as a smart city application. So what we're recommending as a solution in this environment is an integrated solution that covers every aspect of the town. So first and foremost, we would create a 10 gigabit per home capable network. To put it in perspective, most homes in America have the ability to go up to about 150 megabits per minute or per second, I should say, as far as internet speed goes. We're saying that we're not only going to take you to a gigabit, which is what most providers would quote you on today. We're saying is, look, 1 gigabit will be the starting point, but each home will be able to, if they desire, subscribe to 10 gigabit capable services, either day one or years down the road if they would need it. Every home would get a fiber deployment, meaning there will be 0 coax in the ground that will feed the home. Everything will be fiber to the home from our network directly into each unit, and we would deploy GPON technology in order to do so. It's 100% redundant network, meaning in the event of a fiber cut of what's feeding Golden Beach, if there's a fiber cut anywhere along the lines that feed your neighborhood, your community, the fiber self-heals and reroutes, right? Meaning your services are as close as possible, guaranteed to stay up. We would provide residential services in bulk and retail to each home, commercial services to the commercial operations of the town, so the administrative and operational services. We'd also look to integrate our security system for police and anything else that would require access control. So your cameras and your access control to get in and out of any doors that require a fob or access, just like your gates. And as you launch your new town hall, you'd also be able to integrate that. So basically, we come in and take the existing system that you have today, upgrade all the software, upgrade the recording capabilities, and give you a really easy to use dashboard for your police and town administration to use remotely or while they're at Golden Beach. And lastly, a park and beach enterprise Wi-Fi solution, meaning all your 9 parks plus your beach would get state-of-the-art Wi-Fi technology. So if anyone's at the park and you choose to surf the web or work from a park or the beach, they'd be able to do that without any friction or limitations. So briefly, I'll tell you a little bit about Hotwire and how we're able to provide these services. We were founded in 2000 by Michael and Kristen Karp out of Philadelphia, and we've been in business now. This is obviously our going into our 20th year in South Florida. We've been here for over 15 years. We moved our headquarters here just over 4 years ago. So we're headquartered out of Fort Lauderdale. We're on Cypress Creek Road and just off of I-95. And so that headquarters, that facility houses all of our core departments. So our engineering, construction, field operations, customer service, legal, HR, everything is literally 15 minutes away from you from an operational standpoint. We're privately held, and our owner, Kristen and Michael, they live ironically just a few minutes from Golden Beach. So you guys are definitely in good shape from a network perspective. We are known for our technology leadership and innovation. We were the first to provide fiber to the home in Florida, first to provide IPTV, first to provide gigabit internet, first to offer 10 gigabit, first to offer 4K. So we're typically leading the industry in deployments that require any new innovation in video technology, internet technology, et cetera. So if it's cutting edge, we're typically the ones that are deploying it to our customers first. Our fiber footprint rolls over several states, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Virginia, Philadelphia. And the important part with this particular slide is those dots represent points of presence, meaning if anything were to happen in Florida, especially when there's hurricanes, specifically if they hit extra hard in some seasons, the traffic routes to other markets, right? And essentially always keeps the network up, which is why we can stand behind the service delivery we represent for our properties. Today we service over 1,100 residential communities and commercial communities, everything from your neighbors, the Regalia, the Porsche Design Tower, down to Apogee South Beach. In Boca, we serve every high-end country club like Boca West, Broken Sound, Frenchman's Creek, Old Marsh, Naples, Georgia, and the Avalon. So we specialize in environments and communities like yours. We've got thousands of fibers of miles of redundancy, and we own and operate that fiber network ourselves. We're a state franchise cable operator and CLEC, which basically means we're held to a higher standard. We can operate in the right of way, just like FPL, AT&T, and some of the others. So everything is permitted, fully licensed, and insured. Our technology center is Cat 5 Tier 4 data center, which is basically a bunker within a bunker. In the event of a storm, our facility turns into disaster recovery mode, and and essentially serves as the command center for all of our operational teams across the country. We never shut down. We're open 24/7, 365. In the worst conditions, our teams are in our data centers, making sure that your services stay up. This also serves as a carrier hotel, which means that all the major carriers bring in their services. So essentially, we have 5 or 6 levels of redundancy in the event of a disaster, natural disaster. We provide 5 nines, which in our industry, that's how many seconds, essentially, how many minutes you're down every month. And that's a measure that basically says that 99.999% of the time, our services are going to be up in comparison to our competitors, which are normally 4 nines, 3 nines, or less, right? So we stand firmly behind the fact that our services will almost always, there's never 100% foolproof method, but our services will almost always be up. And this is enforced in our contracts and our service level agreements, which say how often any response times, how often we answer the phone, how quickly we answer, and any penalties if we fail to meet those service level requirements. Just a couple of accolades. We're ranked the fastest ISPs, the fastest internet service provider in the country and the Southeast United States by some of the publications. If you notice, we're the ones in red. Hotwire, HBS is what they call us, or Hotwire. In comparison to Verizon, Comcast, et cetera, Google Fiber. And you'll notice that some of our local competitors, mainly some that may also be bidding on your service, they aren't even ranked. So whatever you bring into your facility, make sure that it's at least one of the ranked providers, because clearly we're leading every major carrier, including the small ones that are not necessarily ranked. Recently, we were ranked fastest ISP from a business perspective and in the Southern US by another publication. We received a diamond level award for community association from Community Association Managers. And essentially the services that we're providing here are residential services, but essentially they're built as commercial services that we provide to residences. So we're able to provide symmetrical internet. We're able to provide IPTV video, home security, community technology, everything over that fiber line. So we can essentially continue to add technologies as things evolve, as flying cars come and go. We're able to do that over that same infrastructure that's built for capacity. We also have, we've kind of pioneered community information portals and deployments and in HOA environments. So we roll out an app, our Fission app, which you'll see on the screen, allows you to view your content, so your TV channels from your phone or your tablet, allows you to access your customer care, pay your bill, request technical support. We also give you a community report, which you'll be able to access on TV, and you'll also be able to access it on your phone or your tablet. So if the town has messaging to put out, they'll see it on their app, see it on their television, they'll get a message that pops up on your TV, and it'll ask you to select and view the message from the town. You can also showcase board meetings and any other pieces of information. So it's an extension of the community channel that obviously everyone carries around with them. Our commercial services, so obviously you all are operating a town or a city as well. So we provide services, commercial services, voice services, wireless, video, and security for the operation of the town. And it's essentially integrated all into one network, right? So you're not having to use many different providers, many different points of contact. Essentially it's one point of contact that can support everything on one network, and it makes it really seamless for your staff. What really separates us, though, when we get away from discussing product and technology and the stuff that we're here for, the reality is what separates us is our business model and supporting our customers. So we have a white glove approach to supporting our customers. So from the beginning, from the moment that we activate your property with our service, we provide a full project management launch team that's dedicated to the project. They deal with the office, the administrative staff. They deal with every resident, every installation. We conduct a full home assessment survey. We provide recommendations. We work with audiovisual companies and IT companies that you may have in your home, making sure that the experience is smooth all the way through. Once we're done with the installation, we have educational components where we can train you on how to use the system. If you need more training, we can do it virtually. We can show you all the tips and the tricks to use your new devices. And then we assign a dedicated account management team that supports the account every week. So we visit the property in the community once a week. We work closely with the town management and essentially serve as an escalation point if there were any issues to ever arise. The launch process is something we take pride in. So obviously, once a contract is signed, we start the process of construction. We work closely with all the municipalities, and so permits. We work through the process of design. We begin pulling fiber. We handle the consultation process of the in-home surveys. We can conduct town halls and explain to the residents what to expect. We can conduct training sessions as well virtually. We then work closely with each resident for their installation. We, based on our findings in the home evaluation survey, we select all preferences for the resident, set up the accounts, and then coordinate the installation. You'll never experience any downtime from the current provider to our services. While we're in the home, we're going to test everything, make sure that all the wiring is in place and working well. And if it's not signed off at a 100% pass rate, that home is not considered completed. So our team will work diligently to make sure that upon completion, everything is working perfectly. The service delivery to your home, which is what everyone asks, what are you going to do when you go into my home? So obviously we use a very different system than what's in place today. We use an optical network terminal, which you'll see on the right there. And that basically converts the fiber signal to a signal that your television, your computers, and your devices will understand. We bring the fiber, which you'll see is the red line there, to a box which we install outside of your home, the demarcation. We then install the fiber inside your home. And if you don't have new wiring or Ethernet wiring, then we'll work with you to install the new wiring with as little disruption and construction as needed. We'll use invisible fiber. We call it invisible fiber. It's a thin line, which we can use in certain scenarios. It's called Invisifiber. If you have existing Ethernet cabling, we can use that. And very rarely, we can also use wireless, but considering the size of some of your homes, it's not ideal to necessarily deploy full wireless. So we'll try to wire as many devices as possible. But our technicians will come in, assess every home, and determine what the best route of installation for every room that requires a set-top box or wireless internet or hardwired internet. So, working in tandem with our installers, every resident will have a nice design and scope of work before our technician leaves and before we even show up to actually do the installation. From a time frame perspective, we want to make sure, just to give you an idea of what a project of this scope would take. Just hypothetically, if November 2020 was the date that we were contracted, we would begin the process of doing exterior fiber work. We would then begin the interior fiber work within the property in December. We'll start in January with customer outreach, meaning letting you know what services we're offering.
David, you have 1 minute to wrap up.
Okay, I just have one more slide. Thank you. The consultations, meaning the in-unit, in-home consultations. And then we'll begin the installations of the bulk services around February, pushing us out to about March, completing the project in the common areas, the parks, the beach, and then the security services for police. And then the full project, we assume will be done because of town hall around December. So as town hall goes live, if any services are contracted for that, then that'll end that. Did you want to get into the actual packages, Alex, or?
So without talking about costs, well, sure. I mean, sure. Go show what you're able to show.
Well, Alex, in all due fairness, the other vendor did not show costs, so I'd rather not show costs. We'll have that discussion after.
Okay. But in terms of packages, David, so we have an apples to apples. What is it that you're offering? I know that you're offering two different options, bulk with cable and one internet only. So just give us the highlights of what your package offers.
Sure. So what we did was.
Council, you received it via email. So you have it so you can look at it for yourselves. David, just give us overview in terms of the two different bulk with cable and the internet. Make it quick, please, because I've got to keep us on time.
Sure. So we have two options, two double bulk options. So a digital video plus internet. One is a digital access, which is about 200 channels, a DVR, a high definition box, a 4K box, and a gigabit symmetrical package, meaning it's 1,000 over 1,000, up to a gigabit, right, depending on your devices. And then we did a separate one, which is same package, but it's asymmetrical, so it's 1,000 over 300. There's a slight difference in cost there, but both are extremely, incredible packages. Dedicated, you're not sharing it with the neighborhood, like is our competitors would deploy. This is a dedicated connection to each. And then we gave you a third option, which was if you wanted to only do an internet bulk, we can give you an internet, a symmetrical internet, 1,000 over 1,000, and then everyone purchases video on their own as a standalone. So you have three options to choose from, and there's some. Yes, Alex, I'm sorry.
David, and although your cable offering is a standard package, it doesn't have really premium channels, that can be an added that the residents could pay you directly for, correct?
Correct. If it's not provided in bulk, residents can subscribe to anything individually through Hotwire directly, but they'll get made for that.
Mayor, now we're on equal footing in terms of companies making presentations. It's always appropriate to allow the council to ask questions of members of the audience as it relates to concerns that they may have.
Okay, Council, Vice Mayor, start with you. You have any questions?
Sure. Thanks for coming tonight. A couple of things. Customer support's a big thing. Right now you're going to promise us everything, and then when I try to call up once you're here, and they say, well, I'm sorry, you're on hold. I'm reading some of the Better Business Bureau items on your company, and of course I'm going to be reading the complaints. I'm not going to be reading all the supporting documentation, but what you have with cable companies, and I think insurance companies and cable companies run neck and neck with me as to companies I'm not really fond of. Tell me how that's going to be satisfied. I mean, you signed us up. This is your job to sign us up. You sold us a bulk deal, and when and your setup team will be here and hold our hand and get us through it. But after that, my cable's down, it's not working, I'll call my account manager up and I say, hey, get these guys on the line. What do we do? I mean, we got a 10-year contract with you. You said, well, what happens? What happens in your contract when you don't perform in that contract? You didn't say what happens when you breach your end of the contract.
Yeah. So we sent you a copy of our agreement. It has a pretty extensive service level agreement, which is our customer service and support standards. Yeah. If we obviously don't meet our obligations, you can terminate our agreement, right? Just like with any other vendor. I think we stand behind our delivery in a very different way than our competitors. We have built-in penalties, financial penalties. We have built-in response times, which no other provider will give you, as far as how quickly we answer the phone, how quick we get out to a problem. We give you many different routes to reach us, right? So if you prefer not to call a 1-800 number, you have the app that you can use. You have your television, which you can request a service call. But the beauty is of our system is that we know typically when there's an issue before you know, because it's an addressable fiber-based system. So we built it very different than our competitors. So typically we know within seconds if there's an issue. We can solve about 95% of the issues remotely. And if we can't
Okay,
solve it,
that's good. We've got a limited amount of time. I heard about that. Second thing, so I'm familiar with my box that I have now. You know, it's a TiVo operated situation with Atlantic Broadband. I have no idea of how your box functions and works, and your remote works, voice activated, not voice activated, TiVo, what it can record, what it can't record, what I got to pay for extra, da 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 da. How do I see what the actual product, see it, feel it, use it before I purchase it?
sure. So
How do
we
I
can.
take a test drive?
Sure. I've offered to Alex, and I think he was going to take us up on it. We can do demos for you. You can either come to our facility. You can see what's behind the scenes, right? Which it's right in Fort Lauderdale, 15 minutes away. We can give you a full demo. We can also conduct a virtual demo for you and any other resident. So we can schedule that and do a full demo of the product, the video, the voice, everything that goes into it. You can also go to one of our neighboring facilities, neighboring properties that we service, Trump Hollywood, Regalia, et cetera. And we'll go with you, we'll show you the system, the technology, and then we'll also give you a full demo and you can test it yourself. So we have many different routes that we can show you. It is state-of-the-art media room built by Microsoft and Ericsson. Voice remotes, all the capabilities that anyone else would want to deploy. And the beauty of ours is, right, it's based on a fiber optic network, which we can do much more with it than some of the others. But yeah, we can happily take you for a test drive. And again, next door.
I'd be interested to find out who their other consumers are in the local areas. Points of contact, and I also be interested to test drive. I don't know how we foresee going forward, but I don't think we're planning to make a decision as of tonight.
No.
No, and we're gonna talk process in a few minutes.
When we go to the regular council meeting, we'll discuss the process. Any other question, Council, Vice Mayor?
No, I talked too much.
Councilman Mandel?
Yeah, just one quick question, David. Same question I asked Atlantic. Some of our residents are locked into a contract right now with competing providers, let's say. Will Hotwire help shoulder some of that cost for breaking those contracts, or what's your typical policy on that?
Sure. So great question. So because this is typically anyone that's coming in, it's about a year out. You'll have time to exit those contracts with minimal impact, right? So not renewing, and so if there is a cost to exit, which some providers have an early termination fee, we'll work that out directly with each individual resident. So they won't, that wouldn't be a burden on the town. This would be sorted out through credits or adjustment. Again, most of these folks would have a small amount to pay by the time we go live in their home. So we've done that before. We've assumed the expense, but it depends. DirecTV has certain amounts. Atlantic, everyone has their different early termination fees, but we would work it out individually with each resident.
Great, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Luskin? No? Councilman Bernstein?
Yes, I do have a question, and I'm not sure. I'm having a hard time pulling up the document, but I have misunderstood. Based on the presentation that I heard you say, you're going to provide sites compared to what we're currently getting, which is only one in the town. Did I hear that accurately?
You broke up, sir. Can you please repeat your question?
Yes, I'm asking. Currently, the town maximum that we have in the town. But this option.
Clearly, you need better answer because you're breaking up.
Okay.
Councilman Bernstein, if you want to text me the question, I can ask it.
Okay, thank you.
I think his question is, what compared to the rates that we're getting today in speeds, because he asked me this question offline, what are you doing? Currently, most residents get about 250, maybe 300 down speed and about 20 up speed. How do your rates compare and what do you have to offer? The other thing, I want you to clarify the 10 gig versus 1 gig, because there's a question about that as well.
Sure. So in bulk, we're proposing a gigabit worth of speed, meaning 4 or 5 times what's available in the town today in bulk. We're then providing additional tiers that if anyone were to need more than a gigabit, they can buy it individually. So 2 gig, 5 gig, or 10 gig. Not everyone would need something like that, but if you're running a hedge fund, if you're a trader, a gamer, again, it's available. What separates us from our competitors is that most providers will only be able to go up to a gigabit with a full network upgrade. We're saying, look, we're going to start you at a gigabit, and then you can go up to 10, and the rates are, pretty much in line with what you're paying for today.
Thank you, David.
Action of that.
David, let me do this. So members of the council and residents, I will make David available to you for one-on-one questions and provide you his contact information so that you can continue to ask these very important questions that will be a deciding factor in your decision. Lisette, David, I'm going to give you a quick 30 seconds if you wish to do a closing.
Well, I thank you guys for the opportunity. Again, this is a big decision. Whatever you decide, please make sure not to take the least expensive.
One more quick question. Councilman Bernstein, who's having difficult communicating, asked me, he said that you're offering 10 gigabytes. We currently have 1. Is 10 gigabytes available for everything? That was his question.
Mayor, he just answered that, but we're not offering 10. We're offering 1. And if you want to buy up to 10, you can. I want to make sure that the council knows that. What we're proposing is 1, and you can buy up to 10 if you choose to do so on your own. That's not part of what we're offering.
And I would just add that not all gigabit are created equal. Our competitors typically are providing a gigabit, typically is 1,000 megabits. Most are getting to about 500 to 700 megabits. In our case, ours is getting to 900, 920, 940, depending on your devices. So our gigabits are not the same, as crazy as that sounds. But so again, you're getting an enterprise commercial solution for a home versus a residential shared solution with upload challenges. Our uploads are.
I got it.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Thank you. With that,
David, I need you to exit the room, please. Mayor, before we
Thank you so much.
I just want to thank you guys for the presentation.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Before we adjourn the workshop, Mayor, just want to, again, real quickly. So the community has asked that we look at, providing a better infrastructure for our cable and internet offerings. We did go out and ask different companies to provide you with some. Later at the town council meeting, we'll be talking about costs associated and how we would fund that. I will make both companies available to provide you, and we'll continue to get proposals from other company. So thank you for participating in today's workshop. Mayor, a motion to adjourn the workshop is always in order, and calling the roll for the next meeting is appropriate.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn the workshop, please.
Motion to adjourn.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, with that, we're going to adjourn the workshop. I'm going to give a 5-minute recess. Okay, and then we'll come back to the council meeting.
We'll adjourn
official council meeting.
Sorry, so we'll resume at 7:47.
Town council meeting for the month of October to order. Today's date is October 20th, 2020. Time is 7:50. Meeting officially called to order. Town clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Mayor Singer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Councilman Byrne.
Here.
Councilmember Luskin,
Here.
Councilmember, I think he already said here, but Councilmember Mendel
Here.
and Councilmember Bernstein.
Here.
Thank you.
Can you mute? Councilman Bernstein has some background
He's
noise.
muted.
Mute him.
I just muted.
Yeah,
Okay.
just muted.
With that, I'm going to ask everyone to please put your hand over your heart. And Chief, can you lead us a pledge of allegiance, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. With that, we have presentations, which we don't have any this evening. Motion to set agenda, additions, deletions, removal from the items from the consent agenda, changes to the agenda. I have none. Council, do you have any?
None.
Town manager?
No changes, sir.
Okay, with that, we're going to move into good and welfare. Town clerk, please unmute everybody in the meeting. And is there any good one scheduled for good and welfare?
I received nothing for anyone. For good
And
and-
let's make sure there's nobody waiting in the waiting room, please.
That's exactly what I just checked. There's nobody in there.
Okay, and is there anything in the message in the chat room?
Let me expand that. There's nothing.
Okay, perfect.
Again, anyone would like to speak good and welfare? With that, we'll close that. Mayor's report, a quick few items. Today was the groundbreaking ceremony. I have to thank the town manager and his staff. It was a first-class presentation. Thank you all for the fellow council members for attending. I think we're very, very smart regarding the virus. We kept the distance. We gave out masks, gave out hand sanitizer. Staff, you guys did a great job. Public Works, the chief, your department, and Alex, your department did a phenomenal job. It was a first-class presentation. I got a lot of compliments on it, and thank you again. The virus is not getting it better, as everyone knows. I urge, everyone to take precautions, wear a mask as much as possible, even when you're outside, if you can, walking the dogs or, outside, please wear your mask and keep social distancing, which leads me into Halloween. Unfortunately, we're not going to have our annual epic Halloween party. We have to be real precautious this year, especially with the virus. I urge the residents that do not let your children do trick-or-treating. I know a lot of homes are not going to have candy. The town will be providing candy and cupcakes. Alex, the town manager, is going to elaborate a little further on the manager's report. But I, as mayor, urge you, I know how important Halloween is as a child growing up. And unfortunately, due to these trying times, we just can't do it this year. So I urge you to, I know the town is going to have a virtual Halloween costume contest. I urge everyone to participate in that. But if everyone could refrain from trick-or-treating, I really appreciate that. Tonight, we're going to award the Center Island Pump Station. That's exciting. That will alleviate some of the issues we've had on Center Island. I want to thank the chief for conducting the driver's license renewal. I know we got great participation on that. Great job for you and your department. Really appreciate it. I know it made life easier for a lot of the residents hosting that. So thank you. And the last thing is, again, I can't urge you enough to please take precautions, wear the mask as much as possible, keep your social distancing, and try to stay away from large public gatherings. With that, I'm going to move that to the council Coronis update, town manager.
Mayor, real quick, we did provide to all the homes masks and hand sanitizers. We do have masks and hand sanitizers available to all of our residents. It's called the substation or town hall for us to provide you. Since our last meeting, Golden Beach has seen 15 new cases of COVID-19. 2 of our residents have been taken to the hospital since our last meeting. As the mayor said, it's important for everyone to practice safe hygiene and COVID distancing. The tot lot has been reopened. We ask all parents to encourage your kids to sanitize. And at the beach, we still are only allowing guests to come to the beach if they're accompanied. We have started full service Monday through Friday for our beach services. So keep everyone in mind that the surge is up and we need all of our residents and staff to take care of themselves and stay proactive.
Thank you. With that, I'll move on to council comments. Start with Vice Mayor Einstein, excuse me. Ben?
Thank you. As Glenn stated, Alex, staff, the town, you did an amazing job today maintaining the COVID standards and trying to protect the residents as well as all the participants. They did a great job. Mayor did, made a great presentation. Moving on to the town, Alex, I'm sure you're aware, we were getting water. It's popping up all over the place. It's nothing new. It's not your fault. And I know you're addressing those issues, just bringing it to the attention for residents who are watching to know that we are trying to do whatever we can, but there are some things that we can't do. Earlier this morning, I spoke to the town attorney, Mr. Helfman, and I know that currently we are scheduled potentially to have a open town meeting next month. And that is potentially, as I understand it, because of the law or statutory law in Florida, that if the governor opens it up, that we must have that in person at town hall in a public place. And I'd love the town attorney to address that issue for a few minutes, if he could, for the town council as to potential options that we may have in dealing with that. Once again, I think that the town manager, the mayor has done everything in their power. And it was just a question to throw out there. In terms of Halloween, are we closing access to Golden Beach to outside, or telling them that we're really not open for trick-or-treating? Okay, I wasn't aware of how that was going to be addressed, and I think it's a great idea. With that, I'll move on to the next.
Thanks. And Steve, you can answer Ben's question, Vice Mayor's question in your attorney report. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Vice Mayor? Okay. With that, I'll move.
Thank you.
Mandel.
And thank you. Just wanted to say it was a great event today. Great job, the town manager, town staff. It's a very exciting process. Really looking forward to just finally, starting this process. Well, we started it several years ago, but actually seeing it run right now, seeing the progress is very encouraging. Other than that, I got nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Luskin?
Yeah, just a few things. Great event today. Mayor, your speech was great. And Alex and the staff, you did a great job. It was a rainy day. The grass was a little soggy from all the rain, and you managed to build a path for everyone to get through so they wouldn't get wet. So thank you again. As far as the flooding goes, I know that the town staff has worked hard to drain it, and it does drain quickly once it begins to drain. But there were a few spots where, Alex, I see you put in some temporary pumps. And I just want to mention that where you were able to put them, they really remarkably worked very effectively. So, as many of those we can get around would be helpful, but thank you for that. And I just want to mention that those of you that saw last month's Golden Beach newsletter, the cover of it was a beautiful picture of our beach. That photograph was captured by one of our residents, Lily Fishman. She's a member of the Golden Beach Youth Leadership Group, and it was such a beautiful photograph that she put together a narrative, and we sent it into the Florida League of Cities for City Government Week, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that perhaps maybe she will win. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Luskin. Councilman Bernstein. Ken? Ken? We can't hear you.
You're muted, sir.
Councilman Bernstein? Okay.
No report.
No report. With that, we'll move into the town manager's report.
Sure, Mayor, let me just start off by thanking the staff and the council and the residents that joined us today in our neighboring communities, Aventura and North Miami Beach, for participating in the groundbreaking ceremony. We hope that everyone took into account that we did everything that we could to help stop the spread of COVID-19. I want to thank our Public Works team under the direction of Kirk McCoy, who did a phenomenal job, Michael Glidden and Giselle from our Resident Services Department, that separates our clerk, and of course, Chief Rebello and the Police Department, Maria and Linda Epperson, and all of the directors who worked together. I think it was a well-attended event. We did make the Channel 7, we did make the 7 p.m. news on Channel 4, so I recorded it. If anyone didn't get to see it, I'll share that with you later on tonight or tomorrow. So thank you for that. As it relates to flooding in town, as you know, tonight we're going to be awarding a contract for Center Island pump station that should help alleviate some of the flooding that we're seeing on Center Island. We did put in temporary pumps at both Park and 2 temporary parks on Center Island. We are starting flooding for the first time on South Island, and so we're looking at possibly putting temporary pumps on South Island. I will remind the community that these are seasonal tides as part of our King Tide efforts. Our pump stations are storm water pump station. That means rainwater. Although we have been using them to help with some of the intercoastal flooding that we're seeing. I know that our residents are upset because these temporary pumps are loud and messy. However, they're needed so we can prevent future loss and damage to vehicles and homes. And so you'll just have to bear with us as we start to put together a more robust and comprehensive stormwater and tidal water program. Right now, we have a stormwater program. And so I'm going to be working with engineers to create a tidal program and a tidal project to meet our tidal needs. Vice Mayor Einstein very correctly stated, we're starting to see more and more groundwater coming up on dry lots because the water table is so full that it's starting to percolate up through regular dry lots. And so how do we address having head pressure on the barrier island so that groundwater doesn't come up? I'll remind the community that our code does require that you bring in fill at least once every 5 years to maintain proper grade. We do not enforce that portion of our code, but our code does stand ready for you to address that groundwater that's coming up. In future years, if we need to start enforcing that section of our code, we will. We are starting to more aggressively enforce our seawall ordinance and seawall repair. I am sad to announce that the town is also currently facing some seawall challenges ourselves that we'll be meeting with the engineers. We do have 2 of our own seawalls that have slipped from the cap. And so we're seeing tidal influences in the town's property that we will be addressing. Our police department will be conducting a mandatory town shutdown on October 31st. We are implementing a local curfew on the 31st, not allowing guests, Chief Rebello, not allowing guests to come into our community. Halloween closed in Golden Beach. So the mayor will be issuing an executive order, issuing a local curfew here in Golden Beach for the 31st. All of our homes will be provided with treats on the 30th and goodie bags for all of our children. We are asking all residents to notify the town if you need more than 2 goodie bags delivered to your home. On the 30th, you will be delivered treats. I won't say what they are to surprise our residents, and goodie bags for all of our children. We are asking all of our adult and children to participate in our virtual Halloween costume contest. There are prizes to be won. And so we ask that you enter the contest and participate virtually. It's important that we keep our small community with COVID cases to a minimum. We do not want to add to the spread. We are contemplating doing an additional COVID testing sometime at the end of the month here in Town Hall. And I also just want to thank Chief Rebello. Chief, I know that there are hundreds of residents who are having a hard time renewing their license. I know that I have friends who have tried to schedule a driver's license appointment and they're 6 months out, and we were able to get one here in town. I know the mayor and staff council would like for you to set up another one if you can, but thank you. Good job in pulling your resources to do that for us. I know the residents appreciate it. Mayor, it was humbling today to be able to preside over the groundbreaking ceremony. Your speech was very eloquent and very insightful. Thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who participated. That is the end of my long report. If I can, Mayor, just real quick, I know that we had the groundbreaking, but just tell the council where we are with the Civic Center, if that's okay.
Yes,
Okay, so our plants are 80% are due by November 8th. Today, I authorize that we begin construction of the building without germ because our building is on columns. We're going to be breaking ground and pouring pilings sometime in late December, early January. So you'll start to see actual physical building construction going up because we all know that germ can delay our projects because our building is elevated to submit for DERM and still commence the building construction while we wait. DERM has been agreeable to that because all of our site work can be done after the building started because all we have is the columns that are going into the ground. So that is good news for us. We are on schedule and on task. Thank you for allowing me to give that report.
thank you, Town Manager. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Town Attorney. Steve, can you answer Vice Mayor Einstein's
Sure.
question? Any other update?
Yes, I had planned to do that anyway. The Florida law, both the statutory law and the Attorney General opinions that interpret that law, require that councils, local governments, meet in the sunshine. The sunshine has generally meant that you meet in person, that there be a full quorum of a meeting in person at a physical location. Because of COVID, the governor early on in this pandemic issued a order which waived the requirement for in-person meetings and allowed virtual meetings to go forward. And that's what we're doing tonight. The indication from the governor is that at the end of this month, that waiver, that order that he issued waiving the in-person requirement is going to lapse. So a number of local governments, or all of them, are dealing with what are they going to do. There are different variations on theme. Some governments are having the councils meet in person, but no public participation in the same venue, where the public can either be outside of the venue or on a Zoom or virtually. Some local governments are actually taking action under their own municipal home rule power and declaring their own state of emergencies and enacting a resolution or emergency order allowing for the continuation of virtual meetings. This is uncharted territory, never happened before, as to whether a local government can actually do that. We are of the opinion that you can. And so I am working with at least one other local government in setting up a continued virtual meeting program. Depending on what the council wants to do, if a majority of you feel like you're ready to convene meetings in person, then we can set up a program where you alone are within the council chambers, at least 3 of you to make up a quorum, and then we could arrange for the public to participate by Zoom. If you all feel as a majority that you want to continue virtual meetings, let's say through the end of the year, then our office is prepared to support you with that decision and render the appropriate legal opinions that will allow that to happen. I think this is community by community, depending on your physical conditions, your facilities, and how you individually feel, is really the decision that the council needs to make. We will be accommodating to you and flexible as we can be under the law to accommodate your desires. But I do think at some point, whether it's right now or before the end of the meeting, there should be a decision on how you want to go forward, which doesn't mean it can't change. If you find that a decision you've made is not workable, then we can change it. But I think that we should make a decision whether you want to try to meet in person with appropriate distancing and precautions, or whether you want to continue the virtual meetings.
So, Town Attorney, I recommend that we do that during discussion and direction items.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
We'll do
But
that.
that's my report on, so I'm here to try to help you guys accomplish what you want to do. And that can be hybrids, it can be pure virtual. If you want to have in-person meetings, if there are 3 of you that we can get together as a quorum, then that is an option also. And the other 2, if there are 2 or 1 or 2 want to phone in, they could do that.
Okay, so when we get to discussion and direction, at the end of the meeting, we'll bring that up.
Great,
Thank
okay.
you. Anything else, Town Attorney?
No.
No? Okay, with that, we'll move to ordinances second reading. There are none. Ordinances first reading, item number M1, an ordinance of the Town Council terminating the police officers' retirement fund.
An ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 24 Personnel, Article 2 Retirement, Division 2 Police Officers to terminate the Town of Golden Beach Police Officers Retirement Fund, to adopt procedures and criteria for terminating the fund by amending Section 24-63, termination of the fund, providing for conflicts, providing for staff direction, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
With that, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
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 Okay, thank you. Town Manager?
Mayor, this ordinance allows us to take, so this money comes from the state of Florida directly to the town that is then passed on to our employees who are police officers. It's a fund that is funded by insurance premiums. Currently, there's a separate pension board that administers this fund, and there are costs associated with administering this fund. So for the last couple of years, we've been working with the police union to try to find a way to reduce that cost and give more money to the members as the state has always intended. So our solution is the following. The town will receive that check and deposit it into the town general employee and police fund to defer our costs. The town will then write a check equal to the number of members equal to the payment received from the state divided by the number of full-time members the date that check is received, and deposited into the International City Managers Association Retirement Contribution Fund, a 457 fund for all of our police officers. Our police officers currently all have a retirement health savings account. They will now all have a deferred compensation account. The existing plan members will be allowed to roll this money into a qualified plan or cash it out with all of the IRS tax penalties associated with the closing of the fund. So we're going to close the 185 fund, distribute those funds as legally allowed by the IRS, and on a moving forward basis, when the state gets that check, we deposit it into our retirement account, and then a check for that amount is then distributed. The union president is on. This is something the members have been asking for quite some time. They are in favor. David, just shake your head so we can see that you are in favor. We recommend this ordinance pass on first reading. It won't come back to you on second reading until the state retirement board signs off on it, but this is what we would like for the town to do. This would allow our members to get more money in their pockets because they won't have the administrative costs associated with administering this fund.
Okay, with that, I'll open it to Town Council. Any comments or questions? No? Public, any comments or questions?
No.
What's that?
Hi, 305-878-7652. Do you have a question or a comment?
No.
Okay, if you could just mute yourself, please. Thank you.
With that, we'll close to the public, close to the council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Vice Mayor?
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Okay, with that, the motion passes. Moving on to the item number N, quasi-judicial resolution, a resolution of Town Council approving a variance request for 268 South Parkway to permit a boat lift and an elevated boat to encroach into the side setback.
A resolution of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, authorizing and approving variance requests for the property located at 268 South Parkway, Golden Beach, Florida, 33160, to permit a boat lift to be installed and to allow an elevated boat to encroach into the side setback.
With that, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, anyone that's going to speak in relationship to this item, please say here, and if you can repeat, and I'll have the town clerk swear you in. Anyone beside, I see one person raising their hand. Town manager, anyone else?
Here.
David Nutter?
Nutter.
Sorry, excuse me. Okay, town clerk, can you swear them in?
Yes, sir. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could just take the lead on this item since you've been sworn in. And Honor, I know that you represent the property, but this is a very straightforward and unique variance. This particular property has a slip in its backyard. They're asking to place the lift in the slip. And so therefore it needs a variance from our setback requirements. And then it's asking for a variance that once the boat is parked elevated, that boat be allowed to encroach. The neighbor most affected, which is the neighbor to the south, has no objections to this variance, and the BOIB approved both requests.
Okay, with that, I'll open it up to council comments. I have none. Any council?
No.
None.
None.
I would say, yeah, I looked at this, I looked at the map. I just don't want this to become, I'm voting in favor of this, particularly because the neighbors, as the town manager mentioned, the neighbors to the south don't have an issue with this. But I just don't want this to become precedent, considering that the neighbors to the south, it's a pie-shaped lot. If they have a boat, it's going to be very hard to park that boat in that pie-shaped lot. I just don't want this to become precedent.
Councilman Mandel, it's a unique, it wouldn't happen a lot because we only have a few lots that have that cutout in their property.
6, I believe.
6. So it's not something that could keep coming up. Because if you look at the description of the property, the actual, it's like cut out within the property.
Yeah, no, yeah, I saw it. I saw it. That's fine.
Okay. Any other council comments? Close to the council, public. David Nutter, you have a comment?
No, I just, if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them, but I have nothing to add.
Okay. With that, anyone else from the public? I think it's pretty cut and dry. I'll close it to the public. Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Yes.
Motion
Okay.
passes.
Thank you. With that, Civic Center Complex update town manager provided us one already. So you have nothing else to add, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. The following items are on the consent agenda. Item number 3, official minutes of the September 8th, 2020 local planning agency Zoom virtual hearing. Item number 4, official minutes of the September 8th, 2020 special town council Zoom virtual meeting. Item number 5, official minutes of the September 8th, 2020 first budget Zoom virtual hearing. Item number 6, official minutes of the September 15th, 2020 special town council Zoom virtual meeting. Item number 7, official minutes of September 22nd, 2020 final budget hearing and special town council virtual meeting. Item number 8, a resolution of town council amending the employment agreement between Ingrid Gooden. Item number 9, a resolution of town council approving a mutual aid agreement between the town of Golden Beach and Bal Harbor Village. Item number 10, a resolution of the council recognizing the week of October 19th through the 25th, 2020 as a Florida City Government Week. Item number 11, a resolution of town council approving a memorandum of the understanding MOU between the town and the FOP to provide a 1% hazard pay to first responders. Item number 12, a resolution of town council approving amendment number 1 to the 2019-20 fiscal budget, operating budget. Item number 13, a resolution of town council appointing a member to the police officers retirement fund. Those 11 items are on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Can I go, Mayor, for a second? Could we just have a little discussion about the 1% hazard pay to first responders?
Sure, I'll gladly do so. I'll just like to remind the council that an item that's on consent that needs to be discussed needs to be pulled when we set the agenda. I'll go ahead and make the exception, but that is the rules, and the state that's the rules for the agenda. But the 1% is a
Pardon me. I understand the rule. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's okay. So the 1%, the Miami-Dade County, when it received the CARES Act funding, decided that it was going to reward first responders as they defined it. They could be firefighter, ambulance workers, police officers. Golden Beach only applies to our police, not our dispatchers. They're going to give them a 1% pay increase for every hour devoted to COVID response, and they've assigned off patrol officers to be COVID at risk because when they respond or pull somebody over, they don't know whether or not they have COVID. So they are paying, they reimburse us 100% of the costs associated with that 1%. They don't reimburse us with the pension implications, however. But in Golden Beach, the maximum that 1% is for a $72,000 employee is $728 for the year. The impact of the pension is very de minimis, and that's why we're just going to absorb that. But it is 100% reimbursed to us by the county.
Thank you.
Okay, those 10 items, number 3 through 13, are on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the consent items 3 through 13 pass. Item number Q, town resolution. Resolution of town council approving a workshop, approving work authorization agreement for the Center Island Pump Station project between the town of Golden Beach and Craig A. Smith Associates.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, approving a work authorization agreement for additional construction and engineering services for the Center Island Pump Station project between the town and Craig A. Smith and Associates, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Can I need a motion to pass?
Motion to
Motion to approve? I'm sorry, motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Mayor and Council, as you know, when we first did this contract, in my memo to you, we talked about until we received bids from the actual bidders, we wouldn't know what the construction timetable would call for. One of the conditions set forth by the loan that we took out from FDP is that the engineer of record has to provide us with engineering services throughout the project and through its certification. And we do need construction management and oversight. Originally, I budgeted 3 months worth of construction time schedule in the original contract. Now that we are awarding a contract this evening to Southeast Engineering, the Southeast Engineering contract calls for a 6-month construction schedule. So we need to add 3 additional months of services from Craig A. Smith as required by both the loan and as required to oversee the installation of the project. So we're amending the contract by adding 3 months.
Okay.
Okay, with that, I'm going to open it up to questions real quick. Do we approve contracts to Auburn Tigers alumni? Is that what it? I see Steve Smith on the call. Is that in the?
Sorry, this is my home office, and yeah, well, I can blank that out for you.
What is a man cave? Can someone explain to me what a man cave is, please?
I like it. With that, I'll open it to comments to the council. Start with you, Vice Mayor. You have anything?
Yeah, so when the initial engineering was, I guess, have we paid for some of this engineering yet, Alex?
Yeah, we paid for the bulk of the services. Don't forget they designed it and we've already went out the bid. There's still a balance on their contract and their construction period is still there. But this is construction oversight. This is additional work outside.
Okay, so I was not on the previous council, I believe, that awarded this contract. So I don't know what into the mechanization of the engineering. And correct me if I'm wrong, to coin a phrase of the mayor's, but it just seems like a lot of money for engineering. I may be wrong, but educate me a little bit, because I'm looking at the scope of when we did our work for the whole town, and what we paid for our engineering, and for this part of this project. I mean, it's almost 30% of the capital cost of what we're paying to build the thing. It seems.
Excellent question. And one of the good things that we have about this particular project, because we are borrowing money from the state has preset parameters on what we're allowed to pay for engineering and construction services. And so typically for a project this size, you're looking at anywhere between 17 and 25% for both engineering and construction management and owner direct services. This additional $65,000 puts us at 22% of the project costs. So well within the state regulatory guidelines for soft costs associated with this type of a project. So although it does seem like a high number, the total contract for engineering, once amended, puts us at 22% of the project costs.
You must have analyzed it, and the prior council must have analyzed it, or the thought of it. Did anyone else have any feelings? Did you have any feelings about it? I don't know.
I have to agree with Councilman Einstein on this. It does seem 130K does seem like a lot for oversight for this particular project.
It's total at just the oversight portion.
Well,
Right.
actually, if I could I speak
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Go on, Steve.
So there's two components. Okay. So one component is the construction observation, which is, if you will, the daily inspection of, and as one of our field inspectors being on site to ensure that the contractor is constructing in compliance with the design plans. The other portion of the services is for the engineer of record, okay, to handle anything that comes up during construction, any questions that come up. Also, his certification of the project to ensure that it's being constructed in compliance and meeting all regulatory compliant matters. So it's not one person, if you will. It's actually multiple people that are going to be having to be involved in this project.
I misspoke, by the way.
It's additional cost of 65,000, correct?
Correct. And I misspoke. I was looking at another item. The total cost of the contract would be $234,000, making it 18% of the total project cost, which is well within the 17 to 25% that the state allocates.
Right, and also just so you understand, on the big project, the town-wide project that was done, obviously on every project there's an economy of scale. When you have a smaller project like this, it's unfortunate, but you have to put in, if you will, similar effort on a smaller project. So a lot of times you'll see smaller projects that from if you try and look at it from a percentage standpoint, it looks more expensive, and even the construction cost may appear and can be, not just appear, but can be actually more expensive, if you will, per square foot or however you want to term it. But because of that, it's an economy of scale. So
Steve,
so
real
let me,
quick question. The construction observation services is like 60 something thousand of it. Do you have someone there full time or two people there?
so that's 60,000 is both, I believe, both the construction observation and the engineering services. So the construction observation, the additional is two components. Like I said, it's the inspector that's there on a daily basis, and the engineer of record who's going to be the person in the office that's going to review all the shop drawings that are submitted, make sure the contractor's staying on schedule, all these items that happen in the office, and then at the end, the certification of the project itself.
So the inspector is there every day? I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, sorry.
no.
The inspector is there every day?
Yes.
Okay, Vice Mayor, go on, I'm sorry.
So you know, their firm, Alex, is our engineering firm for the town, correct? Like,
Yes.
We've appointed them, so they automatically sort of do a lot of our work, and we've had a good relationship with them over the years. So I mean, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but is that the best they can do for us on this project? I mean, is there any better number they can do for us on this?
Well, the council could always direct us to negotiate, a more conservative number, working with them and looking at the scope of services. You can approve this as an amount not to exceed. When you awarded this contract, the CIP project, exactly what you did. I'm not sure how open Steve is to looking at ways that we can bring that number down. Clearly, it would only apply to the extension. The existing contract is the negotiated number. So it would only be to the additional 65,000. I couldn't go back and renegotiate the original contract.
And guys, we're talking about additional 3 months. So now's not the time to renegotiate that. I mean, like the town manager said, we negotiated the contract originally. This is for the extended amount of period of time.
I understand that, but money has become very dear to the town, as we had discussed last meeting, and a major consideration as to this project is that we were looking for government funding of this project, which did not pass, that which the governor vetoed. That to me is a huge budgetary consideration, and we've got to try to find money anywhere we can this year.
And we are, listen, we don't want you to be dissatisfied. I think you're going to be very satisfied when the project is done. We're always willing to work with you. I have no problems in working with you all, and limiting, what we do wherever we can.
Okay, I'm good with that. And if the mayor and the manager, can get him to sharpen his pencil, I leave it near discretion to try to see what they can do.
We'll definitely look at that. And one way, and this is the barter system, and I want to make sure that everyone knows. So I'll give you an example. So the last 3-4 weeks, I've had Steve and his company come out almost 3 times a week to deal with these Center Island, South Island, and Singer Park flooding issues. Steve was actually out here like at 6:20 in the morning one day, met with me, kind of looking at this, and he's not nickel and diming us for those things when he obviously can. It was funny because Steve had a very important Zoom meeting, and he literally was in his pickup truck on his laptop participating in a bid award and working with us and coming with solutions. And he stayed here that day. I think you were here like 10 hours, kind of making sure that everything was set up. So I can tell you that we appreciate his firm's attentiveness and his reactive. I will work with Steve to make sure that we're not getting hit on other projects that we've tasked him with. As you know, he is currently looking at redesigning phase 1 of the pump station. He hasn't really started nickel and diming us as it relates. He's been acting as our consultant on the Civic Center project drainage, which he's reviewed all of our plans. He's not nickel and diming us and abusing us when it comes to that. That's not in the original scope, but because I don't have the expertise to review civil plans, Steve and Orlando have been phenomenal in guiding me. And in fact, they've been hitting the engineer of record for that project, which is Keith and Associates, over the head saying, hey, we know what goes on in Golden Beach. This is not going to fly. Orlando, I was a little bit surprised with how strongly worded your feedback was. I thought it was a little bit great for me. So thank you for that. But they are serving in the town's best interest. Hear your message, and Councilman Mandel, hear yours, Steve. You hear them as well. So we'll make sure that we, as we add those other projects and scopes, that they fall in line with what your expectations are.
And again, to expand a little on the town manager, I know you're Craig A. Smith. Every time the town manager calls your firm, you're out there. One time, he and I were in a meeting discussing regarding something with Singer Park and the pump that was installed there. He called. Time I left the town hall after he and I met, we went down there to look at it. You guys were already there. So, I mean, I do give you credit on the hats off. And Vice Mayor, I agree. We'll try to see what we can do on the cost.
Mayor, I need to also just state this for the record, and this is probably a surprise to Steve because I haven't had a chance to call him yet. And I mentioned it in my report earlier, and I want the council to be aware of this. So at this project site, the mayor witnessed it with me this past Saturday. So at this project site, our seawall, the town's seawall, has slipped and it has separated from the cap. That is not a part of their scope, and it's not a part of Southeast Engineering scope to get it fixed. So we will be working with Steve and others, because I may need a seawall engineer, and I'm not sure that, I'm sure they do that, but the mayor witnesses firsthand. We do have a slit seawall on both the north corner behind the Marciano house, and we have a slit seawall behind the Shasky Cassell house. I think it's her last name. Okay.
On the north and the south side of the.
Those are new conditions that were not there when they designed this project. The separation of the wall from the cap is a new event that has occurred. And so I haven't even informed Steve because I haven't had a chance to breathe since Saturday as we were getting ready for the groundbreaking. But we are going to need to take a look at that, find a solution for that, because we cannot afford the replacement of that entire area. So know that those are things that we're going to be working with Steve and the engineer, the contractor, to find a solution to fix that. But we do have a slit wall, a separation from wall and cap in that area. And so, Steve, surprise, we're going to have to try to figure that out.
Alex, can we just get, and I don't want to go real deep into this, but so when we built the original seawall there for the police boat and everything.
No, sir.
That was pre.
That wall has been there since before I was hired.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
Any other council comments?
And again, I don't want to undermine or Steve Smith has been, I don't know, as long as I've been on Gold, it's been a long time.
It's been a while, and
many years, and I am not saying you have always been there for us. You are our engineer, okay? You're the town of Golden Beach's engineer. It's, I'm just looking at this from a global perspective, and
understood.
And that's all I'm saying. Okay, thank you.
I understand, and y'all are very important to us, and we're going to do whatever we can.
Thank you.
Any other council comments?
Just to clarify, so the wording is not to exceed this amount?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. With that, I'll close it to the council. Councilwoman Luskin, I didn't mean to shut you out. You have any comments?
No, Steve has worked with us for years. He's like family, and he's always been cooperative, and I have no concerns about the quality of his work or his working with us if we did have to crunch the numbers. He's always been great.
I do want to put this into the record because this is important to note for the record. Every time we do have major projects, we do go out and get competitive proposals from other engineering companies meeting the state statutes. We don't just automatically give our projects to Craig A. Smith and Associates. We do use them as our day-to-day engineer of record for in-house small projects, but for all major projects that require bidding for engineering services, we do follow the state law. It's important that we put that in the record.
Any public comments? With that, I'll close it to the public. Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Okay, the item passes. Item number 15, a resolution of Town Council approving an agreement with Southeastern Contractors, Inc. for stormwater improvements to Center Island.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Southeastern Engineering Contractors, Inc. for stormwater improvements to Center Island, authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
Second.
Second. Third.
Okay,
Hold on, my office is now freaking flooding from the rain. Sorry.
we gave out umbrellas today. Use the umbrella.
I know, but literally it's like falling on my computer. Okay, sorry, we're leaking in town hall. Sorry about
You're
that.
kidding me.
No, I literally, like, my whole window is flooding my office, but it's okay. Mayor, this item, I can speak about it if you need to. So we went out to bid. We had over 18 firms, I believe, participate in the pre-bid meeting. Is that correct, Lisette?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we did have over 7 bids respond. Orlando, how many responded? 8. So we had 8 firms respond. Craig A. Smith was tasked with putting together a selection criteria based on points and based on dollars. At the base price, Southeast Engineering came in first under a sealed bid process. You are familiar with Southeast. Southeast is who did the town's capital improvement project. They delivered everything inside of Golden Beach, both pump station 2 and 3, and they did the remedial work for pump station 1. They did not do A1A. Remember, A1A was Metro. That was a different company. But Southeast, Eddie Dominguez, who would have been here this evening, unfortunately had a conflict, and I gave permission not to be on the call today, won the contract. We have always been pleased with Southeast. They have been very responsive to the town. Their numbers are always true. We don't get any change orders from them unless we drive the change orders. I can tell you that the emergency pumps that we had throughout town, I called Eddie literally at noon, and by 4 o'clock we had the one in Singer Park. And then on Friday, I called Eddie at like, I believe it was probably 4:30, and by 7:30 we had 2 pumps on Center Island. They're always available to us. They are the ones who have done most of our curb and gutter work throughout the town. And I was excited to see that they came in lowest bid base price for the stormwater project. Let me talk about the project. This project has 3 components. Component number 1 is installing the pump station on Center Island with a redundant pump in the cul-de-sac. Mayor, it is important to note that resident Marciano at 405 Center Island had asked that the town delay this or look into how we could do some more noise abatement. I informed her that we would be providing her with a meeting with the engineer of record to talk about noise, but that we were not going to prolong this project any further. We are awarding it as designed, and if there is a noise issue that comes after the fact, we will deal with it then. We cannot afford to delay this project. But I did offer a meeting, or she asked for a meeting, and we are going to offer that meeting for her to talk about the noise concerns that she may have. If you walk by South Island, by South Park or North Park Park, when our pumps are on, they hum. They aren't very loud. She's just concerned that there may be some noise, and we'll address that. The second part of this contract is to mill and resurface Center Island Drive, and the third part is the installation of our Benson Memorial. No, our loan does not cover the contract award price. We knew that going in. We do have enough reserves in our stormwater fund to fund this project. The road fund will fund the milling and resurfacing, and Fund 519 will pay for the Veterans Memorial aspect of this project. So we are fully funded. I know that Ms. Marciano is concerned about noise. We will deal with that separately, but I do recommend awarding this contract this evening.
We can't hear the mayor. We can't hear you.
With that, I'll open it up to Town Council. Start with you again, Vice Mayor. No. Councilwoman Luskin. Councilman Mandel.
Yeah, to Stephen Orlando, just a quick question. You guys did the review here. Any qualms you have with going with Southeast specifically for this this
No.
project?
I just like to say, I think it was a very, very successful bid and bidding process. Everything went smooth. As Alex mentioned, Southeastern has done a lot of work in the town. They've done a great job. We had two others that were very close. It was a very good, I think, I was very pleased with how the bids came in. Everything was on target. You had three bidders that were very close. I mean, within tens of thousands of dollars on a million plus dollar project. And all qualified, very qualified. And like Alex said, I think you got the lowest bidder that has a very good reputation and a reputation of not trying to come in with change orders, during the project. So I think you got a great situation.
Councilman Riddell, the other thing is they know our community and they know the temperament of our residents. So that speaks volumes sometimes. That's worth $300,000 in itself, because we know that our residents tend to need a little bit more finessing and management. So that's a big plus. The other thing is I would be remiss if I don't recognize Orlando, who's on the call, Orlando Rubio. Orlando has been instrumental in both applying for the loan, meeting all the loan requirements, helping us get the project funded, designing the project. Al Galumbo, who's also not joining us.
Caruso.
Sorry, Caruso. I don't know Columbo. I'm thinking of it. And Steve have been the team that put this together. So Orlando, Al, and Steve, thank you for guiding us in this process. And like I said, Orlando has been instrumental from point A to point Z, and he'll be a part of the team moving forward.
Always
Alex?
appreciate the opportunity.
10 minutes. When we did the big capital improvement project, we had a project manager that it's at least my observation, and I could be wrong, who kind of coordinated and made things a little bit as seamless as they could make it for the residents. As you just said, they're aware of our residents and how persnickety we can be and whatever else. Is that built into Southeastern? I mean, I know we don't have a project manager, so to speak, but is that all coordinated?
So I redesigned the way we were taking this project and the approach. So number one is part of Steve's fee for construction management and oversight will be part of that communication with our residents. When we did the CIP, we did not have a resident services department. So Giselle from our resident services department will be working with each of our residents day in and day out. And I am your Paul Abbott. I am your owner's rep. So I'll be managing the project, both this one and the Civic Center, on a moving forward basis, making sure that we look at all the pay requisitions and making sure that nothing's getting sneaking by us. Because of the unique location of this particular project, it'll be easier to manage. I will say, Mayor, it's important for me to say this to the council. Although this resolves our Center Island pump station needs, the town now has two additional sites that we're going to be exploring some remedial work at. Singer Park. Mayor, you need a new island. The park does have some very considerable flooding that we need to start addressing, and we already started by fixing in some check valves and adding a temporary pump. And for the first time in the 14 years that I've been your manager, South Island now has some considerable flooding on the north end. And so we're going to be looking at how to resolve those flooding, and they're tidal flooding issues, but we'll be working with engineers to try to remedy those areas.
Alex, while you're addressing this issue and stuff like that, and I just wanted to get a little idea, I guess I was talking to the building director, Linda Epperson, and she had mentioned to me that there was a new construction going up and they were building a well on their property to contain water that was going to cost to the tune of $70,000.
That's correct.
Is that what people, we've kind of talked about this issue going on, with different things. And should people kind of anticipate that this is going to be a cost of construction when they build a house?
So yes. And in fact, we're going through this process now with the Civic Center. So infiltration trenches, or your French drains, as you guys used to call them, when the groundwater was not where it is today because of the sea level rise, they used to work. And so what we're seeing now is that all of those drains are getting more and more overrun. So through our design review process, when we have civil look at individual homes, we look at ground saturation and we look at the system that they're proposing and we look at the amount of non-pervious areas, and we are asking for systems to be designed and no longer just using swale areas. A lot of our homeowners have been very cooperative. We have a couple of homes that are putting in systems, but systems are expensive. They're $30,000 to $70,000, and in some cases, $120,000. The issue to ground saturation is multi-level. It's having seawalls that have enough head end pressure on the dry side so the water doesn't go underneath the walls. You know, seawalls in Golden Beach don't go to the floor of the intercoastal. They kind of float. And there's typically enough pressure on this side of the wall that keeps the water from not coming underneath the wall. But when there's more pressure in the intercoastal, you're seeing more ground saturation. So you've done a couple of things. One, your code requires that you have enough elevation and ground cover. Two, you passed a new seawall ordinance that requires a higher cap and a recertification of the wall every 5 years or every 10 years or whenever the home switches over. And you tasked me with having a hydrology study, an inundation study provided to you within the next 4 years. And so we are looking at an inundation study. That's not the work that Craig A. Smith has been tasked with. We are looking for other, and they are invited to participate as well, to give us an inundation study and remedy. But yes, Councilman Vice Mayor Einstein, we are asking homes to put in more robust systems as part of their design.
Wow.
Okay, with this, stay focused on this item. Any other council comments?
Yeah, Alex, did you mention the timeline of construction?
So 6 months is the estimated construction timeline.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll close it to the council. Any public comments? Close it to the public. Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Rendell,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Thank you, guys.
Mayor, if I may, before you go on, let me just make a recommendation for the council. I would like for us not to have an internet funding or strategy discussion this late at night where we aren't focused. I would rather ask the council to allow the set tomorrow to circulate a few dates and times for us to have a workshop on funding. This is not something that we should rush through at 9 p.m. on a very stormy night when my office is getting flooded. I do think that we need to have a discussion about the meeting for the November meeting tonight. That we can do, and I think it's relatively quick. But Mayor, if it's okay with you, I'd like for us to set a special call meeting for the purposes of discussing funding and financing and options for internet and cable services, if that's okay with you. I know that Steve will make himself available to us, and I think that we could easily call for a special meeting for that relatively quickly. I'm even thinking as early as this Thursday or Friday. I am only required to give 24-hour notice to the community when calling a special meeting. So we can do it as early as this Thursday or Friday, or as late as next week, maybe Tuesday.
I think I agree with you, but I'd like to do it next week. Make sure, and beginning of the week, see if we can circulate a time and date that's convenient for everybody.
Maybe next Tuesday at an earlier time, maybe next Tuesday, like around 5 o'clock, if that's okay with everyone. Steve? Nope, not Steve.
Is that the 27th?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do it at the end of the day on the 27th.
Councilor Mendel, you're shaking your head. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I can do it after the workday.
All right, so maybe 6, 7?
Yeah, that works fine. Anytime after 6:30 is good on my end.
Councilor Luskin?
Good, on the 27th, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm good.
Just send out an email, make sure that Councilman Bernstein can attend.
Okay, I just think I think that would be more fair to the process if we do that, sir.
That's fine.
Alex?
Steve Orlando, you guys can get off the screen. You guys are done. Good night.
All right. I just wanted to say thank you. And Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, everybody, it's great to see you. It's been a long time.
Be healthy.
Thanks.
Thanks. Take
Enjoy
care.
that man cave.
Vice.
Keep
Vice
us
Mayor, you had a
dry.
question?
Keep us dry.
Bye-bye.
Got it. Bye-bye.
Alex,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, before the next workshop meeting, whatever, you know, the numbers you said you were going to circulate, there's some nomenclature, there's some, and I don't know the best way to address it in terms of, you know, are we buying are we buying a rocket ship?
Well, we're not even saying that we're buying it. I think that the workshop is, do we need this? Do we want this?
Let's wait till the workshop, Vice Mayor, and discuss it. I don't want
Like,
to.
because we're not saying we need it. You may not need it. That's up to you, but let's discuss it at a workshop.
Let's
Okay,
wait
so-
till the workshop.
Okay, but is there somebody, like an independent type of person, that can come, and maybe there's a town resident, I don't know, that could kind of speak to us, who's sort of impartial and say, hey, you know what, let me tell you about megabits. Let me tell you about 10 megabits, you know. Do you need, or 10, whatever he was selling, because
We will provide you the benefits and the needs of all that. We hear, I hear what you're asking. I may be able to give you a general education on that. A lot of this is very unique, so we'll talk about it during the workshop, but we'll schedule it a set for Tuesday of next week, and we'll set the time with the council. And I'll try to find someone independent to bring in and give you that consulting. Mayor, okay, I'd like for the attorney, because we do need to talk about the meeting, to kind of talk about what our options are.
Town attorney, we're
Yes.
talking about the next council meeting. What's
Yes.
our options and what, I'd like to see what, I'd like to hear what the council.
I
So
agree.
I'll start with the
I can-
Vice Mayor.
I can legally
Ben, what do
do
you
that.
feel comfortable doing?
at this point, unless there's something, a great need, well, like I heard the idea of 3 council people going to the meeting. You know, then you got the town manager and you got town attorney and other council people, other administrative staff. And then the other question I wanted to address was the public. If you open up the meeting, can you tell them that you're going to limit them to 6 people that can come into the meeting?
Well, hold on. Our chamber doesn't, so our chamber, okay,
Yes.
will require that our staff and attorney to use the floor space. So we're probably gonna be limited to like 1 or 2 people to join us in there, because the clerk has to say what she says to control the cameras.
Yes.
It may not be the clerk, it may be the deputy clerk who attends, because the clerk has high-risk family members in her family, so I may not expose her to that. But there's what that seat's already taken. I could put 3 of you on your side with proper distancing, and maybe the other 2 next to the clerk, and then the attorney and I in the.
Okay, town manager, before we discuss that, Ben, what do you feel, I'm just gonna ask each council member, what's your preference? And then
My preference right now is Zoom. I think we've worked so long and so hard to get to this point, and I feel that we're potentially going to come upon a vaccine that will probably get to us realistically by March. You know, it'll probably be approved
just
November.
what do you feel comfortable this next meeting?
Have Steve create the Zoom meeting,
Okay.
that we do an extraordinary
That's
resolution.
fine. That's your, Councilman Luskin, what do you feel comfortable doing?
I feel that oftentimes we don't meet in December, and that's 1 month, November. So I would do a Zoom in November, and I would reconsider what we do in January, especially with COVID cases on the increase again.
That's fine. Councilman Mandel.
I'm perfectly fine if council members Luskin and Einstein don't feel comfortable doing it in person. I'm perfectly fine doing it through Zoom. The only thing I would say is that something like the workshop, especially with a topic like the fiber, sometimes it gets a little too complicated doing it through Zoom. Maybe I would suggest possibly for a workshop trying to do a hybrid, or I don't know.
I have a suggestion for the workshop, but
Sorry?
is Councilman Bernstein on? Okay, I agree with Vice Mayor. I'd like to do next meeting, Steve, and then I'm going to talk about the workshop. I agree with the vice mayor and everyone else. I'd like to do, if possible, the next meeting via Zoom. I mean, it just feels, everyone feels more comfortable, and we've, as Vice Mayor mentioned, we've become so efficient at doing the Zoom meetings. Can you make that happen?
Yes.
Okay, that's that. Now, the workshop, I agree with Councilman Mandel. Is there any way we could do the workshop maybe outside at the beach pavilion where we could separate each other and we could have, we're in open air and it's a discussion anyways? Can we do it there? Do you guys have any objection to that?
No, that's a good idea.
If we do it by the, Vice Mayor, we do it by the beach pavilion. There's only going to be 7 of us.
Well,
8 of us.
let me just chime in. That workshop is still a public meeting.
That's
So-
right. And I don't have recording capabilities at the beach.
And it's going to be very hard to exclude the public. I mean, I know it's good for you guys and you could spread out there, but then what do you do with the public?
I don't have AV equipment. I would have.
I agree.
I wouldn't even be able to Zoom it for the, yeah, it's.
I think tonight, Glenn, you know, we had compacted time. I think if we have a workshop and we just say, hey, you know, we've got 2 hours here. We got 3, whatever we need, you know, because it's an important issue. Or break it up.
That's fine. Set up, Lisette, set up an email and make sure that all the council members can attend. And we can figure it's going to be about an hour and a half meeting. Okay, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, give it longer. You know, I'll give it all the time anybody wants.
Okay, so why don't we do that and put a 2-hour time frame and make sure that everyone could block out that time. Okay, with that, any other comments or count?
We're starting it at 7?
Well, I'd like to start it as early as possible. So
6:30.
Feels comfortable. 6:30 will be 6:30.
Okay, 6:30 on the
Out an
27th.
email.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that's Tuesday, the 27th.
At
Yes.
6:30.
And I'm going to exclude the staff that's not needed. So it'll just be the manager, the clerk, and then the town attorney and the council. No staff.
Okay.
A motion to adjourn is appropriate.
But if there's someone that we can get
Yes.
that knows a lot about the different
I'm
speed,
working on
Vice
it.
Mayor mentioned, I think it would be a big help.
I'm working on
So
it.
can explain internet speed in layman's terms to us, that'd be, appreciated.
Definitely gonna
With
work on
that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I would actually get someone who one of the building managers that just got it. They sent a Porsche or a Regalia.
No. So I'm not gonna bring anyone affiliated with either of the companies. This is to talk about technology and the lights.
Right. But they at least understand the benefit of it. So it's not like we're going to say, okay, we're going to Hotwire because they're in Hotwire, but they understand
I'm not sure that a condo manager understands that.
Right. We need to bring in someone that's a technology individual that understands internet speed and can explain.
I'll work
to
on
us
finding some. I'll work on finding someone on short notice.
Alex, you might want to try the people that do our system
Yes.
network.
Your IT people.
Our IT people. So with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the meeting.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Lisette?